Job well done by Brendan Rodgers and his staff. And that is the full-time whistle. John McGlynn unable to execute the type of performance that gave Celtic a scare here last season. Alistair Johnston getting amongst the goals after Dyson Maeda opened the scoring. Dane Murray marked the day that he signed a new contract with the club with his first goal for Celtic. One to remember for the 22-year-old. There was an own goal from Liam Henderson in there as well before Keelan Adams managed to get one back for Falkirk. A fine strike, but it had little influence on the outcome. That's Celtic dominant really from start to finish, and the start of their defence of this trophy was pretty comfortable, ending in a scoreline. The holders through, Celtic 4, Falkirk 1.
Thank you to Rory and to Michael for that match commentary there. Celtic convincing winners of this one, 4-1 against Falkirk. Brendan Rodgers there just congratulating his players out there on the pitch. Well, Charlie and Tony alongside me have been watching that one, and Tony, exactly what you said at half-time, that 10 minutes after the break, so crucial, and Celtic were able to capitalise and really take hold of this tie.
And it happens so often, so it's not by accident that, you know, there's a definite, you know, purpose about Celtic when they come out in that second half, and particularly as I mentioned that it's when the opposition are in possession. You know, that I was so impressed with Celtic. I thought it was a real professional performance tonight. I thought the intensity of the press, and more importantly the counter press, even Mikey commented on it, I think the 84th minute there, you know, where they're still relentless, and I think the energy level going up with their substitution. So I think the manager will be extremely happy with that performance tonight.
Yeah, you can see him on the pitch there, just still demonstrating, just still pointing some things out there to his goalkeeper Sinisalo. Of course, Scott Bain there used to be a Celtic player. He was here at the club for about 7 years. He now is at Falkirk, but you can just see there Brendan Rodgers, even though they won 4-1, just highlighting little bits and bobs that he wants to get across.
Yeah, he'll never be happy. He's got that relentless attitude. I touched on it at the start of the game. He's got that attitude that keeps him coming back, keeps him turning up. The thing tonight for me was, Tony spoke about it, Falkirk were very vulnerable in possession. Celtic look a big threat. The reason I think it was is they tried to build with their centre-backs far too wide, and when they saw the Johnston's goal, as soon as you lose it, you're miles, you're never recovering. Celtic go right through the middle, and then they kill you with relentless sort of finishing and ruthlessness.
Yeah, Chamber's right, you know, that's Falkirk's style of playing. They're very good at it, but particularly when you come, it's more the intensity I'm speaking about, at the press, or the counter press, that you're vulnerable to when you're in possession, and I think you've seen an example of that. Particularly, I think it was the fourth goal. Charlie was commenting how open they were and the gaps between centre halves and fullbacks in possession. But listen, again, I go back to that. Falkirk will back, you know, they'll take positives from that. I think there were opportunities they had in the game. I think when they brought on a wee bit of experience, you know, brought on Graham and Arfield, you know, they get the goal back. They kept a good bit of possession at that occasion, and I think, you know, it's been a really professional performance by Celtic. But you know, Falkirk will analyse that and they'll come out stronger.
Yeah, Callum McGregor just applauding the fans. Dyson Maeda, he got the first goal for Celtic this evening, and you know, John McGlynn highlighted pre-match, didn't he, the fact that Celtic maybe learned something from last season's quarter-final. They played their two strongest fullbacks. They were fantastic for Celtic today, weren't they? I mean, Alistair Johnston, player of the match, and Kieran Tierney down that left side. Alistair
Johnston's that good that he just kind of goes unnoticed sometimes on the radar. He's such a good athlete, such a good player. He gets through there on his left foot, wins the ball, shows all his qualities, breaks through and slots with his left foot. What a quality player, and Brendan Rodgers must be so thankful to have him in the squad. And Kieran Tierney obviously speaks for himself, gets down the left-hand side and creates real moments of quality. These are two massive players, and I think last game when Falkirk had a lot of threat for their wingers, Adjiman and Calvin Miller, I think it was the last year, and Brendan Rodgers nullified that today with keeping the fullbacks, full-strength fullbacks in.
I think you're right. I think it's the reliables in the team, the Celtic team tonight. You know, Johnston, as you say, it's his athleticism for me is outstanding, and Callum McGregor just dictates play all the time. So a really strong professional performance.
It certainly was, and Celtic have thrown their name into the hat for the last 8. 4-1 winners in this one this evening against Falkirk. Alistair Johnston was on the score sheet and he was player of the match. Stay with us. Reaction and analysis next. The last 8 of the Premier Sports Cup. Let's get some reaction. Player of the match, Alistair Johnston, and goal scorer Dane Murray are with Connie.
Guys, first of all, congratulations. How does it feel to be through to the next round of the Premier Sports Cup?
Come on, Dino, start us up.
He's throwing you under the bus there, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's big time. No, delighted. I think we set out to win these competitions every year, so it's a strong start.
Right, okay, I've got to ask you, just to sum up his performance, a day like today, signing that contract extension and getting a goal, big day for him?
No, it's a massive day for Dane. Again, it just shows the trust that the gaffer has in him. He's a really talented footballer, and for him to step into CCV's shoes, which are some pretty big ones, and not really put a foot wrong is impressive. I mean, he's obviously a massive talent. Glad that he's staying here for another couple more years, and yeah, hopefully a lot more performances like that for him.
Talk us through that moment when you saw it going in.
No, just delight. I think don't really score much, so.
And your smile said it all,
I know. I think it was just more shocked the balls in the back end and then, but no, delighted.
And you get on the score sheet again. Is this something that you're hoping that you can add to your repertoire again for this season?
Yeah, I'd like to kick on again from last season. Had quite a few, but it kind of tailed off in the second half of the season. So hoping this year it'll be more of a full season of goals. But we'll see. As a fullback, I know my job defending first. Whenever I can help out, chip in with some goals, it always makes a difference. Especially it's nice scoring against Scott Bain, so it always felt extra good.
I know I wasn't going to mention that actually. I didn't look too happy when he walked by a minute ago. When you think about the fact that, Dane, that this is your competition to lose as it stands right now, how important is it to make sure, I was talking about setting the tone before this match, that you did that tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's all about how you start these games. If you give the other team a chance to get themselves into the game, it can always be a tricky tie. So if we start fast, we've always got a chance.
Right, can I ask you to do the honours for Alistair, please? You are the Premier Sports Player of the Match. Well done, guys.
Thank you, lads. Thank you.
All right, nice one.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much.
All right, off we go.
Alistair Johnston, player of the match. How did you rate Dane Murray's performance? We spoke about him pre-match, didn't we, about it being a big night for him to try and show Brendan Rodgers what he could do, but off the back of that new deal, a good week overall.
Yeah, he was steady enough, not loads of defending to do, but yeah, what he had to do, he done well. He gave a slack ball away in the first half and it led to a chance for Falkirk, but overall I think he'll be pleased, and he scored a header. I mean, you could see the delight in his face, and delighted to see him get on the end of that. And Arnie Engels' delivery all night was unbelievable, and he just had to get a flick on it, and he did that. So, no, he'll be delighted tonight.
Yeah, he's certainly a young lad coming through here at Celtic, and obviously now trying to show Brendan Rodgers that actually he can be trusted on occasions like this.
Yeah, he can be trusted, but the big thing, Charlie mentioned, he scored a goal tonight. And when you're looking for ways to win a football match, sometimes it's plan B, set plays, and if you've got somebody of that ilk that can come up and contribute in terms of goals in the opposition box rule. I thought he had a good game. I thought for a young lad coming in and bedding into that system there and playing the way that he played, I thought he done well. And as Alistair Johnston said there, coming in for Carter Vickers, it's no easy that, but he came in seamlessly there.
Yeah, big shoes to fill, certainly. Now, Alistair Johnston was player of the match, and he got Celtic up and running in the second half. Tony identified it at the break, just how Falkirk would have to keep things tight in this opening period. And unfortunately, from their perspective, Celtic managed to break them open. It's a great finish.
And you look at the intensity of that press. When the ball gets put in there, there's 3-4 Celtic players hounding them down there to win it in the top end of the pitch and getting that press. And invariably, when you win it in that area, you're in goal. So you look at it, and that's such an intensity. The players round about it.
Look where Lewis Nielsen is here, miles apart to defend. It's difficult. That,
and I think that looked like something that was a tactic, obviously, from Celtic, because Falkirk being a possession-based team, they're opened up to play. Yeah. So when you win that possession in those areas there, they are open, and the route to goal there was quite clear.
Yeah, I felt like Celtic knew they were going to play and kind of trapped them on one side. And when you're that wide trying to play, you get trapped on the touchline, and it's really hard to get out. You need to really get it to the opposite fullback quickly, and it's a really hard pass to play. So ideally you want to be narrower so you can make the passes shorter and sharper, and it's harder to press. But no, you can take none away for the press there and the athleticism we spoke about for Alistair Johnston. Yeah,
absolutely. And you mentioned Dane Murray as well, just with his goal, and again it came from this set piece, this opportunity here, and he does really well, doesn't he?
It's a great header. All night Arnie Engels put balls perfectly in the spot. I mean, that is absolutely perfect, just needs a touch. But Dane Murray gets away for the defender and gets a great wee touch on it. I mean, that feeling for him, being a young lad coming through the system, to get his chance and nod that goal.
Charlie would have scored, I feel like that. You're not bad putting it in as well, Biggie.
Aye.
But it's the quality of the ball, you know, that there's so much pace on it, there's so much whip. It doesn't really need a lot. You just need to kind of redirect that into the net. And I think you're right with the quality of delivery. You know, Engels hits the post with a free kick. You know, and
some of his deliveries tonight were absolutely outstanding.
And that's a big part. You know, modern day football. You know, you've seen it. You know, set plays are so important, and you can make all the the runs that you want to make and all that kind of stuff, but the delivery has to come in, and it did tonight.
How are you doing? You all right?
Oh, Brendan Rodgers is with us. Well, Brendan, we were just running through the goals there from this one tonight. How pleased are you with the overall scoreline, of course, but also with the way your team were able to get that job done, particularly in the second half?
I think Falkirk have shown that they're a very good side, and if you stand off and let them play, they can play very well. But I thought we dominated the large parts of the game, all from our pressing. Pressing was excellent, and scored very good goals, so really pleased.
That's exactly what we were just talking about. Alistair Johnson's goal, just the press to get the ball back for it to allow him to break through.
We had two. We'd obviously won from that moment, and then we had a three-quarter pitch press where we were there, and because I thought first half we played well, but we weren't in contention enough in terms of being really aggressive, and we reiterated that at half-time, and they were a good second half.
I thought it's your counter press. I thought was really impressive tonight. I've got to say, I thought the way you started the game. I know you always talk about mentality and attitude and energy, and I thought your start to the game was great. And obviously, I've watched Falkirk. You know, they are a possession-based team, and that counter press when they're opened up to play certainly paid dividends tonight for you.
Thanks, Tony. I think I have reinforced this a lot. It's been a theme over the course of pre-season, the 5-minute rule. Because sometimes you say to teams, right, first 10 minutes, first 20 minutes, be aggressive. But for me, it's the first 5 minutes. You've got to be super aggressive in the game and show your intent right from the off. And I thought the tempo of the game was good from the off. And
I think being an opposing manager against you, and I said that on the show that when you get it 1-0, you know, I think Falkirk are feeling pretty good about themselves. But that, for me, that's the dangerous moment, because you know, as you've just mentioned there, that's that first 5-10 minutes of the second half. That's when you're coming after you, and that's what happened in the game. I thought.
Yeah, and that was the reinforcement. I think no matter how dominant you are, 1-0 is always a scoreline where, you know, like we had 70% of the ball tonight there, but even if you have that at 1-0, there still always can be doubt in the game. But I thought our attitude in the game was excellent. Pressed it well, good speed in the game, and I thought Bainey made a few good saves as well. And it was really pleasing to win and get through.
I thought Arnie Engels' delivery tonight was unbelievable. There can't have been much better than that going about in Europe.
Yeah, well, you know, for a centre half for a big day, and it was brilliant. And Gav, to be fair, was working on that, getting it into the middle of the area, timed his run perfectly. But yeah, all night, I think he'd won in the first half, towards the end of the first half, that just fell short. Everything else, speed, delivery, precision was great. And I thought he was good, Arnie. Tired a wee bit. Gets a bit leggy, and then the technique goes and you kick it out and you do all sorts. But in the main, the boys coming in who haven't played a great deal were excellent as well.
Yeah. I was hoping to see the Tyrone Naheed tonight for the interview.
Tell you what, I nearly had my dicky ball. Do you know what? It is actually unbelievable, isn't it? What
would that have said, Brendan, a dicky ball? What would that have said to the people on social media?
Well, I don't know. I can tell you now, I don't put any messages through a wardrobe. Right? But what they missed on, I wasn't wearing my belt. But
were you wearing underwear?
I was going to say, I'm glad you said belt there.
So, but you kind of do it, you know, when you're too hot, everything's analysed.
But it was a hot day, I'll give you that. It was a hot day.
And you know better than anyone what that dugout's like at Pittodrie
you need
as well.
the sunglasses on it. You're looking into that sun.
Right into the sun, that early kick-off.
You should have went for the 5 buttons in button and get a bit of tan in the chest.
Charlie, I'm not as good luck as you.
I know, that's a hard night.
My mind is boggling right now, absolutely boggling. Let's just throw it forward, Brendan, because when you look at the performances of your side so far, are you pleased at where you're at heading into the game midweek?
Yeah, very pleased. I think the players that are here have shown that they've worked so well. Score 4 goals tonight against a Premiership team who can really work, create, controlled the first 2 games. St Mirren and Aberdeen are tough games, home and away, but we had really good control in them games. And like I said, we'll build as the season goes on. And tonight, tempo was good, intensity was good, and we were very creative.
And I know you said you're hopeful, you know, perhaps of getting a new name or a couple through the door. I mean, how optimistic are you of that before midweek?
Well, yeah, listen, our whole idea is to be as prepared as we can by the end of the pre-season or the end of this window. Of course, I would have loved to have other players, and you see tonight, you know, we're playing a midfield player wide. You know, we're putting Scalesy into certain positions as well. So we need reinforcements, but I don't want to keep harping on about it. I don't need to beg for players that we need. So we work with the players that's here. They're doing great, and hopefully we'll get reinforcements by the end.
Well done tonight.
Pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you
Cheers.
soon.
Thank you.
Well done.
Cheers, Charlie.
Brendan Rodgers here, 4-1 winners this evening against Falkirk, and I mean, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? I mean, he is having to shuffle his pack slightly.
Yep.
You know, he wants to bring new players in. It's not a secret whether or not he can get the right names, so you don't just want to make signings for the sake of it.
Yeah, but it's important when you're in that process and you're in the middle of that he obviously is at the moment, that you maintain the standards within the squad that you've got. And I thought tonight the professionalism, I thought the substitutes, particularly Yang, I thought when he came on made a real contributed to the game. I thought Nygren playing in that, coming in off on his left foot. So I think you need to give credit for that. Yes, everybody knows the situation, but the ones that are playing tonight, I thought the professionalism, the mentality, the attitude displayed was spot on.
You mentioned there just the players that made an impact, and for 4-0 it was a Liam Henderson own goal, but again it was driven by some of the players that were brought into this match just forcing Falkirk into making mistakes.
And as Charlie mentioned, they win that and they're so opened up. Falkirk, when they win it, they're in a vulnerable position, and Celtic there's another 4 round the ball, that intensity, playing into an area, and you see that they're so opened up. Falkirk, there's space down the side, and it ends up in an own goal. So yeah, again, credit to the attacking play, but before that, credit to the out of possession work.
Again, and Brendan talked about it there, doesn't it? It's so important, and he doesn't even break it down into 20 minutes. It's 5 minutes. Impose yourself immediately.
Yeah, he wants intensity right there for the first minute, and he wants to start quickly in 5 minutes. And you see with that goal there, you start the second half and into the second half where Falkirk have got the ball. Tony says it, when you've got the ball here and you're spread out, you're so vulnerable because Celtic just break right through the middle, and it's their best chance to kind of score. And they didn't have any joy, Falkirk, playing out today. Celtic had them nullified in that area.
So 4 goals for Celtic this evening. They're through to the draw for the last 8, but disappointment for Falkirk, whose Premier Sports Cup campaign for this season is over. We've heard from Brendan Rodgers. Next, we'll get the thoughts of John McGlynn. That's coming after this. Welcome back to Celtic Park, where Falkirk's Premier Sports Cup campaign has come to an end. Let's get some reaction from John McGlynn. He's with Connie.
Commiserations, John. Can you sum up your thoughts on that 90 plus minutes?
I thought Celtic were very good, to be honest with you. I thought they moved the ball very quickly, they were very sharper than us. It was very difficult to match them, to be honest with you. I thought we didn't really get close enough to them. I thought we could have got closer to them. I've no qualms with the scoreline, where we contribute to our own downfall with regards to losing the ball in bad areas like the second and third goal. However, I think Celtic got other chances that they manufactured that maybe they would have got other goals from. I think the scoreline's probably fair. Want to learn from. Great experience for a lot of the players there. I mean, Keelan Adams, 15 months ago was playing for Cumbernauld, and today he's playing against one of the best players in Scotland. So a great learning curve for him, and he pops up with a great goal.
Cracking goal for him as well, yeah.
The first goal that Celtic's lost this season domestically. So we're a bit of a learning curve. It'll help us for coming back here in the future. We'll take on board that. We'll get a look at it. And let's spend a lot of money to put a team out like that, and you can see the difference, and we have to just respect that.
I heard a bit of a ripple of applause when you were doing your team talk at the end of the game there. Clearly there's an importance making sure that their heads stay up and results like this don't sort of in any way derail what you're trying to do.
No, it was always going to be a difficult one for us. We tried to stay in the game, which we did for up until 25 minutes, and then we had a couple of opportunities. Calvin's had a shot, and Ross McKeever's pulled out a good save for the goalkeeper. So we still created 1 or 2 opportunities and managed to get a goal. So now there's a lot of the guys are honest. They're an honest bunch, and they're very committed. So we'll have a day type thing,
Appreciate your time, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pretty honest assessment, isn't it, really? It was always going to be difficult for them, and, his players did their best.
Yeah, as always, John McGlynn, really honest, and I'm pleased to see he's taking some positives from that, because that was difficult, it was the most difficult fixture you can get at this stage of the competition, and listen, as he always does, he'll analyse that performance, he'll be honest with his players, he's got a really honest group of players, I know that, I know a lot of the players, and there's good experience in there as well, so, they'll brush that off. I don't think they've got a game for a while now, but I think it's important that they all get back to basics, to looking at that, seeing things they could have done better, and I'm sure he'll be looking to add to his squad as well.
Yeah, I mean, the goal they did score, Charlie, was fantastic. He mentioned it there, Keelan Adams, 18 months ago, playing for Cumbernauld Colts. What a moment for him. And, this is just an example of what Falkirk are capable of when they get themselves into the right position.
He's a good player. He's really athletic. It's something down the right-hand side. Seen quite a bit of him last year. I actually think he can play at a higher level. He's got a lot of attributes, and he shows a lot of quality here, cutting inside. That's a great finish. And John McGlynn said it's the first goal Celtic have conceded domestically all season, so it just shows you how difficult that is and how good a player he is.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, you mentioned it, Tony, just the fact that he will be looking to get some signings in the door, won't he, John McGlynn? Not only from the fact that as a newly promoted side you do need to strengthen, but also he's got quite a few injuries at the moment, and a squad size like that can't afford to have that many injuries.
I think you need that going out throughout the season. The rigours of the Scottish Premier League, you need to have that, and I thought actually that period of the game when he brought on a bit of experience, they had a good wee spell there and they got their goal, because I just think the experience helped. There's a lot of younger players in there that maybe haven't experienced a lot of Premier League football, so I'm sure he'll be looking for additions to his squad to help them develop. But one thing again, Charlie said at the top, you commend his style of play. To come here to, there's loads of teams would just sit in, but they tried to play, but they found it themselves against a Celtic team tonight.
Do you actually think the fact their game at the weekend against Hibs has been postponed because of Hibs' brilliant win in Europe last night, do you actually think that'll help John McGlynn? He can maybe try and get a couple more signings in the door and get a few more players back fit?
Yeah, well, because he'll take that break and have a look. But the most important thing is nobody kind of judges them off this. Falkirk, you need to understand where they came from. They've got a lot of credit in how they play and what John McGlynn's done, which rightly so. So he shouldn't be judged on today. I mean, you look at the players, that a lot of them have not experienced playing at this sort of level. So they've held their own well, and they'll be judged in other games in the Premiership.
It's a good point, that, isn't it, Tony?
Yeah, and they come up against a Celtic team tonight that analyse them and were on their press.
Well, there you have it. Thank you very much for your company. As always, the second round of the Premier Sports Cup continues tomorrow. We'll be at Ibrox for Rangers against Alloa. And a reminder, you can follow all of the games from across the grounds on the Premier Sports Player. From here, though, Celtic are through to the draw. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.